good actor who's talking about you, just give me that. Give me your best shot. And if you're open to that, people generally are pretty proud of giving the good stuff. But in order to get that good stuff, you have to be willing to, you know, spin double zero now and again. Every once in a while, you're going to spend a little extra time in the Thunderbug. Right here?
Okay, I just have to know, the opening scene of Medium Raw, was it real, or did you make it up?
Which scene are we talking about? In Medium Raw or Kitchen House?
The secret meeting.
Oh yeah, the ortolan meal? Yeah, definitely. That's not that unusual that chefs get together and eat that dish. It's a very traditional, old school French dish. Okay, it's illegal, but... You seem horrified. Tasty little birds. I'd highly recommend eating some if you ever get the chance.
With a napkin over my head, right?
This dish is traditionally consumed with either a hood or a napkin over you to either shield the loathsomeness of what you're doing from God, or just to not freak out the other diners. Tasty. Yeah.
Hi there. I was wondering if there was anywhere that you wanted to visit and never were able to.
Yes, one of the reasons I'm moving to CNN is because they have a large news gathering organization with contacts on the ground in places like the Congo, Libya, Burma. So now we can make shows in those places, and I've been trying to make a show in the Congo for years, and now we'll finally get a chance to. Just be mic here. Leah, is that still working? You hear me? Good? Okay, good. Let's go take this thing off.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah, where are you?
Right up here.
Oh, okay, hi, sorry, I didn't see you.
I heard you got a new show coming up, or a new series?
Yeah.
How is that going to differ from your No Reservations, and why would you not just continue with the show since it was such a kick-ass
You'll
show?
notice that there were 3 clip shows in the last season of No Reservations, okay? That would be one reason, okay? That's not my doing. The network has no problem taking existing footage, chopping it up, creating 3 bogus clip shows and calling them new shows. That makes me angry. No, it's like I was explaining to this. Look, Travel Channel has been very, very good to me over the years. They put up with a lot for me. I've had a lot of fun with them. I really should not have. I mean, no one has ever had as much freedom making television as I have. You know, I don't want to sound ungrateful to them. But the fact is, as I was explaining, you know, CNN came along and said, we'd like you to make the same show with the same camera people, the same producers, the same editors, the same partners, your own production company, the same way you've been making for all of these years. Just do it for us. And we can get you in all of these places that no other reasonable travel-related or food-related network would ever allow you to go, like the Congo, going up the Congo River, going to Libya post-conflict. That never could have happened. And, you know, we've been shooting for a lot of years. We've been to a lot of places. You know, we got to up our game a little bit and show you something you haven't seen before. And in order to do that, a huge international news organization with infrastructure in these places is very, very helpful. Do not worry. I will not be barbecuing in the Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer. Okay? That's not going to happen. You know, nobody gives a shit about my politics, and I will not be talking about them on CNN. And in fact, the first thing that happened when they called is we sent them 3 of our most fucked up shows. Our holiday special, where Samantha Brown shoots me in the knee, the Black and White Robe episode, and the food porn episode with Ron Jeremy. We sent that to CNN and said, are you sure you want to make television with us? And they said, yes, yes, yes. So here we are. Right here.
Hi, Tony. Welcome to Texas and love the
Thank
news.
Thank you. From the great state of Texas.
I was lucky enough to visit Love's house in New York City and have dinner there. And just after Hurricane Sandy and you filming your last show in Brooklyn, is a lot of your restaurants that are your favorites okay there, or how do you think they'll do?
People downtown, small mom and pop restaurants. You know, look, the big restaurants like the Bourdain, and even to an extent, you know, successful restaurants like Bourdain, you know, when they get flood damage and have to close, they can continue to pay their cooks, probably, you know, even though they're not working. They'll make it. They'll survive. the people who got hit in New York were all mostly small startup, mom and pop, individually owned and operated restaurants. You know, young chef, owner operators running on a margin like this. You know, for them it's a disaster to not be open for business for 5 days. It's a complete disaster, above and beyond the cleanup. Jersey got hit, just destroyed. Staten Island, Rockaway. But look, you know, floods and destruction like that are not new to, you know, this area. They're not new to a lot of the U.S., but for New York, never in the history of New York have we seen weather like we've been seeing, and this took us by, even though we knew it was coming, it took us by surprise. But, you know, look, we're New York, we like to, you know, we will pull together, we will survive. But,
last semester I had the amazing opportunity to study abroad in Budapest, Hungary. And I was wondering, in Hungary and in Eastern Europe, what is the one meal that made you feel the most connected to the Eastern European culture?
You know, I'm not an Eastern European guy that much. It's not my, I don't like sort of neat, orderly places with few social problems where everything works. I like messy, dirty, hot, passionate countries that are barely functional and, you know, they're totally fucked up, but still have great food. You know, Italy is a good example. You know, it's like, you know, they change governments every 10 minutes. You know, but somehow it all works. Eastern Europe, I don't know. Good beer, good pork, but it's not a part of the world that in Scandinavia, I don't really connect with. You'll see, I'm always happiest when there's like a palm tree in the background, or, you know, sort of, you know, dark, passionate people with spicy food. I'm always happy, always happy. So I don't know how to answer that. Up top there?
Hi, Tony.
Yeah.
I just graduated from Johnson & Wales University.
Oh, good, congratulations.
Thanks. I wanted to know, what advice could you have for me as a young chef?
Look, there are two things that I can advise people who've already been through culinary school. The year after culinary is the most important year of your professional life, okay? If you can, you sacrifice and you probably put yourself into terrible debt to go to culinary. But what you do in the next year is the most important. If you can hang on and scrounge money, beg off your friends, live out of a backpack, do whatever is necessary to work for free, if necessary, in the very best restaurant as far away from home as you can, meaning Spain or France or New York, a major culinary capital where the best possible chef, you know, get your ass kicked for as long as you can take it in the best possible kitchen, and forget about the money, because a lot of restaurants, they're not going to pay you at all. In Europe, they won't pay you at all. You might even have to pay them. But look, at the end of a year, you know, if you lasted a year at a restaurant like Arzac or El Bulli or the Bourdain, you will never need a resume again, ever. You know, you'll be able to walk in a restaurant and all you have to do is say, oh yeah, I was at El Bulli for, you know, a year and a half. They know everything they need to know about you now. Second thing I recommend, no matter what you do in this life, whether it's in cooking or anything else, the most valuable lesson I ever learned, show up on time. As a long-time employer, you know, I learned this important lesson. As a long-time employer, I can teach skills. You know, I'm not looking for somebody who can roast a chicken perfectly necessarily. I can teach you how to do that, okay? What I cannot teach you is character. So what I'm looking for always is, the invaluable employee to me, the one, I don't have time as a you know, being a chef is a mentoring profession. There are no secret recipes. One generation of chefs teaches everything they've learned over 30 years to successive generations of people who come to work for them. They don't have time to do that because they're already busy and stressed with a whole bunch of other shit going on. So they have to choose very carefully. Who is worth me spending all of this time mentoring and teaching them everything I've learned? You know who's worth it? The person who has the respect for them and for their coworkers and the institution to show up on time and do what the fuck they said they were going to do when they took the job, which is show up on time and do the job. Everything comes from that. On time, every day, every day, every day, every day. That's best advice I could possibly give you. Right over here, just a few more. Yeah.
Saw you at Gugamuga, had a drink with Octavia, love you guys. But on kind of a more serious note, how do you actually reconcile the difference? You were talking about how, as you know, stupid Americans, we eat so much. you're obviously up here talking about it, and you're telling us all about it, but the other chefs aren't. How do you think you can influence them, or do you think they'll ever come around, or do you think any changes will ever happen? Do you think you can do something like that on CNN?
Look, I am not an advocate. I'm the last person in the world who should be an advocate. I'm not a role model. I'm not an educator. I'm not a critic. All of my friends are chefs. I've been totally corrupted by those associations. I love Mario, okay? If I go to any one of Mario's kitchens, and they're in there, stark naked, fucking on cutting edge surfaces, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to write about that. Because he's a friend. That makes me unreliable. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a reporter. I'm just none of those things. I'm a flawed vessel like any other. I'm not going to try to inspire anyone. All I can do is I'm going to live my life. I'm going to do those things that interest me. And I'm going to tell you about the things that make me happy and make me sad. And I'm going to tell you about those experiences as honestly and as entertainingly as I can. What you do with that information is up to you. That's me. Sorry.
First of all, you're much better looking in person than you were on TV. I've always wondered, the gold ring that you wore on your thumb.
Yeah, God.
Well,
I'm 56 years old. I think I talked earlier about God. I had a de-douche. I looked at my daughter, and I realized, there's certain things I just can't, the earrings got to go.
so there's nothing really sentimental about it. It's not
my
wedding band.
My sous chef gave it to me. So it was a sentimental thing, but there's a point in every man's life, I think, when you can't wear an earring, no ponytail is, out of the question, the mullet's got to go, thumb ring's gone. You can't rock anymore, in fact. There's a point at which no one wants to see you rock. In fact, you reach a point in your life, I've talked about this with other dads, the whole idea of dancing after a certain age in a man's life, I think it's become a weapon. Because, like, when my daughter reaches the eye-rolling stage, I'm told that this really works with, like, tweens. Young lady, you're not leaving the house looking like that. Yeah, Dad. I have to say, oh, yeah? Well, if you leave the house looking like that, Daddy will rock. And not only will Daddy rock, he'll do it in front of your friends. Oh, yeah, he'll dance in front of your friends. I don't want to be that guy. I can't even go to concerts anymore. I love like Elvis Costello. There are a lot of old bands from my age who I would love to go see. But it freaks me out. I go to I go and I look around, everybody's old and ugly, and then I realize, oh, that's me. And then if they're all young people, I always feel like I'm some creepy fucking pederast. Hey kids, I'm gonna go back to my place later and party. Bye-bye thumb ring. Hello, yes?
Up here.
Up there? Okay, and I'll come down to you next. Yeah.
Hey, Tony.
Hi.
My dear mother couldn't be here today. She's actually at home cooking dinner for us. She cooks every night, so unfortunately she couldn't be here. But she had a question that she always asks every single episode that she watches on the show.
Mm-hmm.
How does he stay in shape? She asked me.
I don't.
How does he stay in shape?
Clean living. Clean living. I don't do anything. I Google Keith Richards every day. And if he's still alive, considering what he's done in his life, I figure there's hope for me. And I should just keep doing what I'm doing. I don't snack. I'm not a big dessert guy, If it's not going to be, you don't see me eating a Cinnabon at the airport, I'm not going to do that. If there's a reasonable expectation of deliciousness, I'll eat it. Otherwise, I'm a terrible chef. My wife keeps trying to get me. She hired me a personal, 3 personal trainer sessions, at her gym. She's at the gym 3 hours a day, 6 days a week. She's she's a fighter, and so she gets me these lessons, and I did one. I said, I'm not paying this guy to so I can lay on the ground vomiting in front of all these snatches. It's not fun. It's too late for me. Yeah.
Wow, I guess it feels like a dream. Anthony, you mentioned that, yeah, I'm down here. Anthony, I'm 4'11", but I pack a punch, man. Anyway, so, you said you're not a role model, But I'm gonna tell you this, I'm 19 years old, sir. I followed you since your show premiered. And you are the father that I never had. You're my
Oh, you were way too nice. Thank
No, I mean it. You are more honest than my dad ever was. You showed more respect than my dad ever did. And I think you're more of a man than he ever will be. Not only that, Anthony, you're talented, man. You know what? You are, man.
Well, thank you. You're
my question, who is your role model?
Wow. I don't know. There are people who I wish I could be like, okay, who I really admire. I admire David Simon, who produces and writes who wrote The Wire and produced the show The Wire. Okay? Because he just didn't give a shit whether anyone watched the show, whether they liked the show. He was totally uncompromising. He figured out this is something he wants to do, something he's going to say it in his own way. I admire that. I admire Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age, because he's a guy who just, again, he doesn't give a shit. He works with the people who he enjoys working with. It's not necessarily a financial thing. If he gets an opportunity to work with someone, he flew across the country to be on our stupid-ass holiday special with his whole band for free, dressed up in silly Christmas sweaters. He's been a great friend to me, and look who he gets to record with, people from very different backgrounds. I admire Norah Jones, who's not a style of music that I particularly like, but who always, again, is somebody who collaborates with really, really interesting people. As soon as she reaches some financial success, she's recording with the Danger Mouse and Q-Tip and composers, just eclectic, does unexpected things for purely creative reasons. So people who are willing to do the stupid thing because it pleases them and because they can and because they believe in it, are people that I admire, and those are the people who I want to be like. Thank you. Just a couple more, yeah.
I was just wondering if there were any moments that were really favorite moments of yours that never made it on the show.
We have a lot of them. Look, the best thing about doing what I do is those moments off camera with my crew who I've worked with, traveled with for so long, sitting there on top of a dune, in the empty quarter, somewhere in the Middle East, looking out over the desert with the moon setting over the dunes in the distance, a little drunk, a little high, and you're just thinking, man, this is a good, life is good. It's those little moments where there's nothing particularly picturesque about it. We're all sharing this moment on a little flat bed, sort of a train, sort of a jury rig train people carrier on the railroad tracks in Cambodia, whipping through the rice fields, rice paddies. And me and the two camera guys, they're shooting a little, they're putting the cameras down. We're just looking at each other knowing, we're getting good stuff in the camera, but isn't this awesome? Can you believe we get to do this? It's those little moments where you're not really saying anything, you're not really doing anything, you just kind of look over at your friends and you get this look like, life doesn't suck. Thank you guys so much. I'm sorry for